Hello, good morning, students. Just a second, I am sending you on the WhatsApp also the link. Hello, students, can you hear me? Just wait for 2 minutes. Let others join, so I'll begin. "57 of you are there. Tell others also to join. I have just shared the link in the WhatsApp group also. Good morning, walaikum assalam. Walaikum assalam. So shall I start? Only 55 of you are there. Where are others? Now 53. So you just join and just then leave. Okay, so let us begin with the topic. Today, in the last class, we have already discussed law of diminishing marginal utility, right? That we have discussed in the yesterday's class. Okay. Today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is consumer surplus. Okay, consumer surplus. This is the topic we are going to discuss. Consumer surplus. Okay, what is this consumer surplus? Before that, see, this concept of consumer surplus was given by Dupuit in 1844. It's a name of economist who gave this concept in 1844. And he used this concept to measure social benefits of public goods, right? Public goods are those goods which are used by all. There is you cannot exclude people from using this. Say for example, national highways, bridges, canals, everybody uses it. Okay, so Dupuit used this consumer surplus concept for explaining the social benefits of public goods or goods which are run and governed by the government, controlled by the government. Okay, later on Marshall has given so many concepts, basic theories in economics to explain consumer behavior, right? So Marshall refined this consumer surplus concept in economics and popularized in his book Principles of Economics in 1890, right? In 1890 he popularized this concept of consumer surplus, and this concept of consumer surplus is based on the principle that utility can be measured. Utility can be measured. On that principle, on that assumption, this consumer surplus is developed and popularized. So it is based on cardinal measurability concept, cardinal measurability of utility, and interpersonal comparison of utility. Interpersonal comparison of utility between two persons, right? That is there in the consumer surplus. Now the question is this: what is this consumer surplus actually? See, consumer surplus, I'll tell you with the help of a very short story. Whenever you go to buy anything to a shopkeeper, right, you have something in your mind. You decide that if this particular product is available in this price, I will buy, right, as per your knowledge and information about the product. Whatever you do nowadays, people do, information is collected on an online internet, like you check on Flipkart, you check on Amazon, and you go to a nearby in your locality a shop, and you keep your mind ready that I'll buy this particular mobile phone, say for example, in say 9,000 rupees, right? You go to that shop and you ask the seller how much is the price, right? Seller, say for example, tells you that this mobile phone is available in say 8,500, whereas you decided in your mind that you will buy the mobile even if it is available at 9,000 rupees. That means mentally you are ready to pay 9,000 rupees, right? But when you went to the seller told you, okay, this mobile is available in 8,500, then you thought that let us bargain some more. Do you ask that give me some discount? So seller gave you another discount of 500, and now the mobile phone, this phone is available in, mobile phone is available in 8,000 rupees. So you are more than happy that you were ready to pay 9,000 rupees and the phone is available in 8,000. So there is actually the consumer surplus of 1,000 rupees. So this is known as CS, or this is your consumer surplus. That means you wanted mentally prepared to pay for the product which you want to buy. That is the consumer surplus. Okay, yes students. Now moving on to some technical aspects, technical definitions given by some famous economists. Okay, Professor Taussig on economics, he says that consumer surplus is nothing but difference between potential price and actual price. Potential price and actual price. Actual payment, how much you have done? You have done 8,000 in this example which I have given to you, and potential price you thought of that it is 9,000. So difference of this is known as consumer surplus. Similarly, as it was popularized by Marshall say that, you see the very technical definition given by Marshall, the excess of price which a consumer would be willing to pay, would be willing to pay rather than going without the commodity. That means you have decided that you will buy it at any at the price which you have thought of, 9,000. So you will be willing to pay it 9,000 rather than not buying it, not going without the product. So that excess amount over and above which actually does pay the customer is the measure of this consumer's satisfaction or surplus satisfaction. That is the concept actually. Okay. So that is what the meaning of consumer surplus. So that way consumer surplus is the difference between money value of total utility received and quantity of goods purchased multiplied by its price. That means this is something, how you can measure it, how you can quantify it. That is what here written, that quantification of consumer surplus is possible. You first find out the total utility, how much is the total utility you are getting, and then you find out the number of goods purchased, how much good you have purchased and at what price you have purchased, you will get your consumer surplus. Okay, right. Now moving on to the theoretical and practical importance of consumer surplus. Quickly see, this consumer surplus is used in explaining the distinction between value in use and value in exchange, right. There is difference between value in use and value in exchange. See, sometimes you see exchange value of things are very less, but value in use is very high. Say for example, your water value in exchange is very less. You get water, say one bottle of water is available in 15 rupees, 20 rupees, whereas value in exchange is value in use value, the utility of water is very high, right. Whereas in case of diamond, value in use, you see utility, what is utility, what is the use value, and exchange value is very high. This is because of because of the reason of marginal utility. Because of abundance of water, marginal utility of water is less, and because of scarcity of diamond, the exchange value is more, marginal utility is more, right. That is what the concept is used. Then in welfare economics also the consumer surplus concept is taken, like education and health departments. These are the departments where consumer surplus is very high, so government should be investing in those projects, right. It is also important for the finance minister to decide such projects which has higher consumer surplus, right, higher utility, and before finance minister must see how much should be the taxes, because taxes reduce the consumer surplus because it increases the price of the product. When price increases, your consumer surplus size goes down, right. Gains from trade also can be explained with the help of consumer surplus. Benefits out of the construction of the public goods, public facilities like roads and bridges, that can also be explained with the help of this consumer surplus. So these are some of the important importance, theoretical and the practical importance of the consumer surplus. Now moving on to one practical example, you can see, dear students, I am taking example of this measurement of consumer surplus. You can see here in the first column you have number of units 1, 2, 3, 4, right, 5, 6, 6 units are shown here, right. So when you consume first unit of anything, say ice cream or banana or apple, whatever you take, you are getting marginal utility of 20 and you are paying 12 rupees for a banana, or say for example for an apple you pay 12 rupees and utility how much you are getting, 20. So what is the net benefit? 20 minus 12, that is 18, and the same is shown here. You can see in this diagram the first quantity when you bought in 12 rupees, but how much utility you are getting? You are getting 20. So this range, this whole are your benefit. That is your, actually this is your benefit area, from the first. This is your benefit, first unit, from first unit. Similarly from second one, right, how much is the utility now? Fallen down, because now you are consuming 2. So from 20 it has gone down to 18, but price is 12 only. So difference is, okay, so difference is 6, net benefit is 6. You see this from the second unit, how much is the net benefit? This is 6.1, right, this area. From third, now marginal utility is 16, price is 12, so this is the net benefit. So this area represents net benefit from the third unit, right. Similarly fourth one, the net benefit is 2, because marginal utility has gone down now. Now you can see in case of the fifth one, 12 marginal utility and price is 12. So your net benefit is 0 in case of the fifth unit. And the sixth one, you can see in fact the benefit is in negative. So you are paying more price and the utility derived from it is less. Correct? So this is how you can compare, you can measure, you can find out the consumer surplus. These are this shaded area. You can see this yellow one is your consumer surplus, right? This is your consumer surplus thing. Fine, students. So this is numerical, this is a graph. Both you should show when asked in the examination. You must show it while measuring the consumer surplus. Okay. Now moving on to the next slide, that is with the help of this demand curve, how you can measure the consumer surplus. You look at here carefully. This is our demand line from D1. This is demand, and you are purchasing this quantity Q, right? And what is the price? The price is P, that is OP. OP is the price, OQ is the quantity. So I told you to calculate how. This is OP multiplied by OQ. So this whole area OPMQ, that is the payment made by you. OPMQ. This is the payment you are making, not this. This is the utility you are getting. Your payment is OPMQ, whereas utility you are getting ODMQ. This whole area, complete area is your, this from this all, this rectangle and triangle taken together is that much you are ready to pay, but actually how much you are paying? You are paying OPMQ only. So your consumer surplus is equal to DPM, or this shaded area, this is the area, right? This complete area, this is your actually the consumer surplus area. this one. This shaded area, this yellow shaded area is your consumer surplus, and the formula again here written, you can see. How much is your total utility? Total utility is ODMQ. ODMQ complete, right? And how much you are paying? OPMQ, that is P multiplied by number of goods consumed. So OP multiplied by OQ, this much you are consuming. So when you deduct it, you will get your consumer surplus equal to DPM, or this shaded area. Fine, students? Is this clear? If it is clear, just let me know. Yes, say yes. Right? So this is how we calculate the consumer surplus from demand curve. Shabana, okay, yes, ठीक है. Now moving on to, okay, fine. Moving on to limitations of this consumer surplus. First limitation is on the question of measurability only. हमने क्या assume किया है कि consumer surplus और utility को हम measure कर सकते हैं, but actually what happens, it is difficult to measure utility, right? If you are unable to measure utility, then consumer surplus difficult to calculate. This is first limitation. Then consumer surplus may be infinite. In some cases, in some of the good, the consumer may be behaving irrationally, like you are owning something precious metal or something, Mona Lisa's painting, say for example, any rare commodity, your consumer surplus, you are ready to pay, infinite amount. This value is very high. So in that case, this is, consumer surplus may be infinite, right? Then goods which are having snob appeal, snob goods are those goods which are for show off, people consume or people own it, maybe Rolls Royce car, right? It is a snob goods, right? So in that case also, if the price falls of that kind of commodity, its value goes down, because its value is because this snob is because of price, And then Nicholson say, Professor Nicol, consumer surplus is illusory or imaginary. It's an imaginary concept and it is hypothetical. It is a state of mind, right? Further, next limitation is Marshall assumed that there is diminishing marginal utility for commodity and constant utility of money. If these things are not true, it is difficult to calculate and measure and understand the consumer surplus concept. Okay, so these are some of the important limitations of consumer surplus, right? That इसको measure करना difficult है, some cases में infinite consumer surplus रहता है, और निकोलसन कहते हैं कि ये imaginary concept है, एक mind का आपका एक state है that you are getting a value, and Marshall assumed that diminishing marginal utility and constant marginal utility of money, that is also not true. So that case, these are the limitations of consumer surplus. Now moving on quickly to indifference curve. Dear students, indifference curve, this is very important concept. Indifference curve. Being indifferent means it is not affecting your decision, your satisfaction level remains constant. Okay, so this indifference curve, let us see What is indifference curve? Indifference curve is a graph showing combination of two goods that give the consumer equal satisfaction or utility. Each point on an indifference curve indicates that a consumer is indifferent between two and all points give the same utility, right? Indifference curve is like this. I am drawing here, you see. This is your indifference curve, IC curve. Okay. So whether you are indifference curve, you are here, or you are here. If you are here, this is your combination. Suppose here you are measuring Y commodity, here you are measuring X commodity. So this is, say, Y3, this is X1. At this level you have Y2 and this is X2. And this is, here you can see Y1 and this is X3. So whether you are at A level, B level or C level on the same indifference curve, आप चाहे A पॉइंट पे हो या B पॉइंट पे हो, C पॉइंट पे हो, एक पर्टिकुलर कॉम्बिनेशन है. A पे क्या कॉम्बिनेशन है? Y3 of Y and X1 of X. तो ये आपको कोई सेटिस्फैक्शन दे रहा है. B भी का Y2 X2, Y1 X3, तो तीनों पे सेटिस्फैक्शन, से फॉर एग्जांपल सेटिस्फैक्शन इज 100, सो A पे भी 100 होगा, B पे भी 100 होगा और C पे भी सेटिस्फैक्शन 100 ही होगा. यू विल बी इंडिफरेंट, राइट? You are indifferent whether A, B or C, you are getting same level of satisfaction, right? आप किसी भी point पे हो, different combination of two commodities, you are getting same level of satisfaction, and that is, if that is plotted on a diagram, you get indifference curve. Okay? Yes, students? Another example, this is a diagram which is shown here. Again, suppose on y-axis we are measuring A commodity, on X we are measuring B commodity, same thing. A point, 10 unit of A good, 20 unit of B good you are consuming, right? And on B point you are 30 unit of B and 12 unit of A commodity you are consuming, right? So this, you are indifferent between A and B, whether you are at A point or B point, your satisfaction will remain same. So indifference curve tells you the same level of satisfaction derived from different combinations of two commodities, right? Your consumption of two commodities combination may be different, but satisfaction will be same. Say for example, apple and oranges, right? 6 apple and 1 orange, 4 apple and 2 orange. Like this combination you can have, and each combination is giving you same level of satisfaction. That can be shown with the help of indifference curve. So that way indifference curve is one of the way to compare utility. It comes under ordinal utility analysis. First one you have studied cardinal utility, that means measuring utility in absolute term, quantifying it. Whereas in indifference curve, we are not measuring exact quantity, but we are comparing the utility from different combinations of two commodities. Okay, that's what is shown here in case of indifference curve. So I hope that you have understood the concept, meaning of indifference curve. I am repeating what is indifference curve. Indifference curve is the locus of points of combination of two commodities which give you same level of satisfaction, and you become indifferent between two combinations or multiple combination. That means on the same indifference curve our utility remains the same. Okay, that is what the indifference curve means. This is again a indifference curve schedule which I have shown to you here. You can see here combination number 1. What is the combination? 1 biscuit and 18 banana. It is giving you some satisfaction, say any satisfaction level, let us assume 100. And the second combination is giving you, what is second combination? 2 units of biscuit and 13 unit of banana. This will also give you same satisfaction, say 100. Third combination, 3 unit of biscuit and 9 banana. This is also giving you same satisfaction. Fourth one, 4 unit of biscuits and 6 unit of bananas. And so on, you can see, right? So each combination if you are choosing first combination or last combination, satisfaction remains the same, and if you plot the diagram for this, you will get indifference curve. I can show you here. You can see, okay, here you have first biscuit, second one, third one, fourth, fifth and the sixth one. Here on X we are having biscuits and here we are having bananas, right, like this. So 18 bananas and 1 biscuit is here. Then 13 bananas and 2 biscuits, 9 bananas and 3 biscuits, 4 bananas and 4 biscuits, 4 bananas and 4 biscuits and 6 bananas here. So you connect these points like this, you will get indifference curve. So one thing you can see, for acquiring 1 unit of biscuit, how much he is foregoing? 5 unit he is foregoing. 5 unit of bananas he is foregoing for acquiring 1 biscuit. Why? Because in the beginning he was having less of biscuits and more of bananas. So utility of banana for him is less in the beginning and utility for biscuit is more. That's why he is foregoing more. Now you can see from second to third biscuit, how much he is foregoing? Now 4. So it is declining. Here also law of diminishing marginal utility principle applies, right? This is also shown with the help of table. You can draw the indifference curve schedule. Now moving on to the characteristics of indifference curve. Quickly see, first characteristics is indifference curve always slopes downward from left to right. Why? Because if a consumer decides to have one more unit of commodity, say biscuits, as I have taken in the previous example, the quantity of banana must fall, right? This is first. So that's why indifference curve will be sloping downward. You see here, if you want to acquire one extra unit of biscuit, you need to forego the banana. So 5 unit of banana you are foregoing for acquiring one biscuit. So if you plot this diagram, you will get downward sloping from left to right indifference curve. Okay. That is shown with the help of this example. You can show that indifference curve slopes from left to right, and you can cite this example of biscuits and bananas. Second second characteristics of this indifference curve is always convex to the origin. Why it is convex to the origin? Because you can see MRS XY is always diminishing. Marginal rate of substitution is always diminishing. So this will make your indifference curve convex to the origin. Like this it will come. This is your origin and it will be convex. Convexity, this this will be towards this origin line, origin point. Okay. So why this characteristics of indifference curve as convex to the origin? This is because marginal rate of substitution x for y is always diminishing. Due to law of diminishing marginal utility, consumer always willing to sacrifice lesser unit of a commodity for every additional unit of another good. Again you can see that biscuit and banana example. For first biscuit, how much the customer was ready to forego? 5 unit of bananas. But from second to third, how many units of bananas the customer was ready to forego now? Now he is ready to forego 4 unit instead of 5. In the next round you will find it is ready to forego even less than 4 units. So first of all, it will be for every extra unit of biscuit, the bananas which customer is ready to forego keep on declining. पहले वाले फर्स्ट बिस्किट लिए तो 5 बनाना फॉरगो किया, सेकंड बिस्किट लिए तो 4 फॉरगो किया, थर्ड वाला लिए तो 3 फॉरगो किया, तो वो डिमिनिश होता चला जा रहा है. इट इज डिक्लाइनिंग कंटिन्यूअसली, राइट. So this way if you plot the diagram, your indifference curve will be convex to the origin. So that is what the meaning of convexity, or this is one of the properties of indifference curve. Now moving on to the next, higher indifference curve represents large bundles of goods, or in other words you can say higher indifference curve will give you higher satisfaction and lower indifference curve will give you lower level of satisfaction, right. हायर इंडिफरेंस कर्व पे हायर सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलेगा. क्यों? बिकॉज यू विल गेट मोर ऑफ बोथ द गुड्स ऑन हायर इंडिफरेंस कर्व एंड एट अ लोअर इंडिफरेंस कर्व यू विल गेट लेस ऑफ बोथ द गुड्स, both the commodity, right. Bundles which contain more of both or more of at least one, so higher indifference curve will give you higher level of satisfaction. Okay. So this can be shown with the help of this diagram again. Here you have goods Y, here you have goods X, and we have I, indifference curve first, indifference curve second, indifference curve 3. Okay, so say, see, if you are here, this is A point, another point is this B, say for example. So at A point the satisfaction will be less than B. Why? You just see, I am showing you. So this much of Y is there, say Y4 I am saying, and you just extend down, and this is X1. So at A point you are having Y4 amount of good Y and X1 amount of good X, right? Whereas at B you see, just extend down, you are getting X2 amount of goods X and Y4 amount of good Y. So though you are getting same amount of goods Y, but more of X2 you are getting, that's why B point, which is on higher indifference curve, will give you more satisfaction. Okay, and at A you will get lesser satisfaction because you are getting less of X, though Y is same but less of X you are getting. So higher indifference curve will give you higher satisfaction, and lower indifference curve will give you lower level of satisfaction. So this is another characteristics of indifference curve. And finally, this is the indifference curve should not intersect each other. Indifference curve cannot be intersecting to each other. I'll quickly tell you, this is the last diagram I am showing to you. So this is our, say, indifference curve 2, this is our indifference curve 1, say for example, and this is point A, this is point B, and this is point C. For example, this is an assumption, I am just numbering it. So you see, point A and B are on higher indifference curve, that is I2, whereas point, you can see, A and C, that is on indifference curve 1. Okay, so if satisfaction on A and C should be same because it is on indifference curve 1, and satisfaction on A and B, that should be same because this is on indifference curve 2. So this way it becomes inconsistent. Why it is inconsistent? Because when A is equal to B and A is equal to C, then this B must be equal to C, right? This B must be equal to C, but B cannot be equal to C because B is higher at higher indifference curve, that is I2, and C is on lower indifference curve, that is I1. So this is inconsistent. That's why two indifference curve cannot intersect each other. Okay, this is another characteristics of indifference curve analysis. So these are some of the important properties or characteristics of indifference curve. We have studied indifference curve slopes downward from left to right, then marginal rate of substitution is always diminishing, or indifference curve is convex to the origin. We have studied higher indifference curve will give you higher level of satisfaction, lower indifference curve will give you lower satisfaction, and two indifference curve cannot intersect because it will become inconsistent. Actually, B is not equal to C, B is greater than C, right? But according to this analogy, this is becoming equal, so that's why it will not be, the indifference curve cannot intersect each other, they will be parallel, they will be, one will be above the other or below the other. That way, indifference curve can be analyzed and explained. So we have seen concept, we have seen properties. In the next class, dear students, we will see the equilibrium of consumer with the help of indifference curve and budget line or budget constraint. Okay? Yes, students? Is this fine? Okay. Thank you so much, students. Have a nice day. See you in the next class. If you have any question anyway, you can ask. If you don't have any question, then we will stop here. Okay? And I can see 20 and 25 of you quit the class before time, which is not at all acceptable, students. You must not leave the class before. Okay? Thank you so much, students. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care. Okay, yes, no problem, I'll share. Don't worry. But PPTs will not have many diagrams, students, that I have drawn before you.